too far. You need to go back. That's your back button.
Gotcha.
If you want a laser, that's up there.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I'm
okay.
Yes, I'm okay.
Hi everyone, good morning. My name is Faith Webb and I am so excited to talk to you about this passion project that I've been working on over the past year. For some context, I am also one of the co-presidents of the Orange County High School Drama Department, and I've been involved with theater and numerous other fine arts programs over my 4 years in high school. And these programs have been so deeply impactful on me. And not only did they provide me a creative outlet, but I found myself building these skills that I didn't think that I could learn. I found myself communicating effectively with others and understanding diverse perspectives. I started acing these school presentations since I had this newfound confidence that I didn't have before. And I was a very, very shy kid. Not to mention my work ethic was significantly better as the time demands required me to build these time management skills that I also did not have before. I was a major procrastinator. And I know that this experience in these fine arts programs is not solely limited to me. So many of my peers have also had this experience and built these skills. However, despite the fact that these programs can do so much for young students, they're often serially underfunded and overlooked in favor of more traditional leadership development programs such as athletics or student government. And while those programs are great, I really wanted to delve deep and explore the connection between leadership and fine arts in youth. Which leads me into my internship where I had the opportunity to work with Robert Crystal, who is the director of the Orange County High School Drama Department. About 4 days a week, I stayed after in the Orange County High School auditorium, spanning from about 2:45 to 5:15, and on those rare occasions, 2:45 to 8 p.m. And during this time, I got the opportunity to focus on the more leadership-based aspects of a production, as we had been working on our VHSL one act competition, which was Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing. I got to lead and run acting workshops, lead rehearsals with warm-ups, as well as implement little leadership-based group exercises to sort of help the students connect with each other and build on that character. In addition to that, I know Michael talked about this already, but I was also designated the very special task of traveling to Prospect Heights Middle School as well as Locust Grove Middle School to present to the 8th grade English students about the production that they were going on a field trip later that day to see. We presented about the plot of the show, the relevance of Shakespeare in modern times, and I made sure to also mention a lot about how the theater program in particular here helps to build leadership skills like public speaking and empathy that will help them, especially as they make the transition into high school or they participate in DE and AP classes where they need important skills like public speaking to put on presentations like we're all doing right now. I found the students were very deeply engaged. They came up to me asking questions about how they could help out, if they could help out now, if they could somehow join now, and how they could join once they got to high school. And I was so overjoyed to see that my passion could spark inspiration in young minds as well. And this brings me to my community service. In addition to Michael's summer classes, I was able to help teach drama classes to those young students between the ages of about 8 to 14. And as I was teaching these classes, I really had an opportunity to reflect and think about how when I was younger and I had all this passion and this desire to build skills for the rest of my life, how much I would love to have a program like that to build those skills in an environment where I felt safe and was happy and passionate. And so I had the idea of contacting the gifted specialists of both Prospect Heights and Locust Grove Middle School, Betsy Hamilton and Laura Wright. And I told them about my mission and my plan for these students. And so we worked together to create a rehearsal shadow program where interested students could sign up to take an activity bus over to the high school about every other Tuesday spanning from September to November. between the times of 2:45 to 5:15. And while they were here, they were able to get a very close inside look on the rehearsal process, both on stage and off stage. This included things like character work, blocking, building sets, painting sets, as well as working together on character work and really learning about the parts of a rehearsal process that maybe you don't really think about too much. And now one of the things that I loved most about this community service was seeing how excited and passionate these students were and just how much they reminded me of myself at a younger age. And one of the best activities that we were able to do was the personalized group activities that I ran. I had a bunch of these students break into groups, and I designated a group leader to lead improv and different scene work. And a lot of these students were shy. They had never expressed their opinions to a group of people or tried to take ownership of something like that. And I watched students come in being shy and afraid to talk, but brimming with excitement, rise up and start to express their thoughts and their feelings and their ideas and have those ideas be welcomed with open arms. And I really got to see the young leaders that will be coming in here. And I am so filled with hope for the future because of that. And so that brings me into my research. I knew that I was passionate about this topic and how my experiences had helped me and how hopefully my experiences with those students had helped them. And so in traveling to the University of Virginia and looking through the databases of Orange County High School, I really wanted to focus on the specific question of what are the best leadership skills that fine arts can build in youth. And through my research and expert interviews, I found out that the 3 best skills that can be built are public speaking, which will help them in activities like presentations or job interviews or securing an internship later on in their life, as well as empathy, which helps them communicate with others and understand perspectives that maybe they don't agree with. It can help them in things like debates or going to college and being surrounded by people they didn't know. And finally, which I believe is one of the most important things that they are able to learn, is developing a strong work ethic. As a leader, many times you'll be in charge of managing different tasks and delegating these tasks to different people. And having a strong work ethic with very hardened time management skills is imperative to that. And so that leads me into my legacy and the things that I learned through this process. In this photo here, you can see me and some of the Locust Grove 8th grade students that I worked with during my rehearsal shadow program. And they had told me and given me such positive feedback on how much they loved the program and how excited they were. And I didn't want that experience to just be limited to the high school. And so I spoke with both of the gifted specialists, Betsy Hamilton and Laura Wright, and we came up with the idea to sort of start the process of establishing a drama program at both of these middle schools so that hopefully these students and the students that come after them can experience the wonders of theater and build these leadership skills that will help them not only in middle school or in high school, but in college and in the workforce and just in a wide variety of career fields. And so I am so excited that I could bring the program that I wanted so badly as a young student to these young leaders. And so that brings me into my future plans. Now, this project has been so utterly transformational for me. My future plans were entirely different when I started, and this sort of brings me into my learning stretch and what I really got to discover about myself during this project. Before this, I had obtained a 4-year National Naval ROTC scholarship, which I was very proud of, and I was planning to use this to attend Virginia Tech. I was going to work hard, get a stable job, but I realized I wasn't passionate about that. I wasn't interested in that. Helping these students in performing and being a part of theater and being a leader was what was truly my calling. And I sort of made this big leap, and with all these discoveries about myself, I changed my plans, and currently I am planning on attending James Madison University, pursuing a double major in business administration and theater. And so as my senior year comes to an end, especially in BRVGS and theater and all the activities that I took such pride in participating in, I can't help but think about what I could have done differently. I know I learned so much about myself, about how important passion and dreams and being a leader are, and how integral they are to my being. But if I were to do anything differently about this project, I would say to start earlier, perhaps, get a more finalized plan to make sure that everything was checked off, make a plan B. Sometimes things didn't go the way that I wanted to, and sometimes that resulted in having to scramble for a plan B. I still think it worked out wonderfully in the end, though. And sort of as we're nearing the end, I would like to thank so many people. I'd especially like to thank Robert Crystal, the director, for allowing me to mentor under him and giving me such valuable lessons in both fine arts and leadership. I'd like to thank Mr. Beck for being such an integral part of the drama program. Some of the most exponential leadership growth I noticed was in the crew leads. And while I am more of an actor first, I could not help but talk about how important that was, and that couldn't have happened without him. I would also like to thank Ms. Somar and Ms. Satterwhite for being such inspirations in fine arts as our choir and band directors. I'd especially like to thank Laura Wright and Betsy Hamilton for working so closely with me and helping me give these students the opportunities that I wish I had. I'd also like to thank my BRVGS senior advisors for being such a great help during this process. And lastly, I'd like to thank Michael Clay for also helping me out in these presentations and wrangling all those kids, and as my fellow co-president. Thank you so much. I'm now open to questions. Yeah. Yes, I'd say approximately from both schools, it was about 20 to 25, about an average like classes worth. There were a lot more students from Locust Grove. In fact, so many students were interested, we had to limit it to 8th grade students only, while Prospect was open to all grades that were interested. I think we had about 5 kids there and 20 from Locust Grove, which makes sense. I'm from there, and it's a lot bigger, but yeah, and I think it worked out really well. Yeah.
If the middle school theater program continues to grow, what changes would you like to see, next year and in the future? What changes would you, like to go back and make?
In my project or in the middle school?
In the middle school.
Right. So I'd really like to focus on not just the creative and theatrical elements that the drama program would bring, but especially helping them in sort of coming out of their shell. I know that middle school is a time where students are very reserved and kind of stuck in their own little bubble as they're growing up. I know I was. And so by focusing on helping them build those soft skills like public speaking and communication, I think that it would be such a great help and preparing them for high school and beyond, while also giving them that creative outlet and that stress reliever. Yes?
What's your goal for after college? Would you be like working with students?
That is something I would love to do. My current goal is to hopefully pursue a career in acting. However, I'm aware of the logistics of that, so which is why I pursued a double major in business administration, perhaps accounting. That way I would be able to work closely with theaters as well, with maybe a more stable income. And I could sort of pass on the lessons that I've learned during my time while pursuing my dreams and my passions as well. Yes?
While you were at the middle school, did you have the chance to, like, when you were giving the presentations to the classes, like language arts classes, did you have the chance to talk to any of the teachers about kind of like taking on the role as like a performing arts like director at the middle school since you want to build the program?
I didn't get to talk about being the director per se. However, there were a lot of teachers that were very interested. One of the teachers in particular that I presented for at Locust Grove was a huge Shakespeare fan, and she was so happy to see that there were young students that were interested in Shakespeare and interested in drama and theater and wanting to participate in that. So I think she would be a great help and would love to help out with that program. She's also working closely with the gifted advisors there, as well as I, to sort of make sure that this program can be a positive experience for all of the students. Yes?
Can you recommend anything
Yes, actually. Something that I have noticed throughout my experience in the more traditional leadership development things is there seems to be a lot of focus on doing things in a very rehearsed script-like manner, sort of a hit this, hit that, hit that. And I think that as a leader, we should focus more on talking about empathy and understanding the needs of the people that you might be leading. It allows you to connect with people because even though you might be pursuing these leadership positions, you are just a person like everyone else, and allowing yourself to connect with those people, I think, is really what makes a leader. That's especially what I've learned in my time in theater. Even though there are set leaders in the production, without the people that are being led, that production wouldn't happen. And so it's a team effort. And I think that that aspect of leadership, the collaboration and the teamwork, I would love for that to be touched on and explored a lot more.